Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to Pit Road Productions, or indeed if you're watching on Swellio's channel, a huge warm welcome to you on there. I can already see Sam Loves Cars right in the chat. Great to have you here with us, and I guess we should introduce ourselves. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and supposed to be joining me in the booth is Mr. Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner. He's currently MIA, but the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, it just means that our producer is going to be joining us on the comms as well today. We're going to have Mr. Rob the Goatee Campbell. Well, I got to say, Rob, Algarve, definitely not one of my princess-approved tracks, but how about yourself? Is this one that you're familiar with?
It's a track I love, Zippy, actually, off the top of my head. I love this track. I know it's a track that not a lot of people seem to really enjoy, but it's a track that I love, and no matter what kind of car we're driving, I've actually did a few laps this week in the F3, just kind of get an idea what to expect here, and should be a ton of fun if the drivers enjoy it as much as I do.
Absolutely, I can already see Aurum and Jake Cairo there. I'll rephrase that. Aurum Bentbelsen and Jake Cairo. That would have been interesting. Went into a racing league and all of a sudden you've ended up with a different partner. Wow, I got to start racing if that's the case. But yeah, no, definitely clarify that one. But no, we do have Aurum Bentbelsen and indeed Jake Cairo here in the chat as well. But Rob, I guess what we should do, while Algarve is definitely one of your preferred tracks, let's see where we've gone and indeed where we're going here for the Almeida Racing League. We started off in Montreal with round 2 taking us to Spa. Round 3 for Sebring. I know you're not particularly keen on that one, Rob, with round 4 taking us to Fuji. Round 5, we're getting near the end of the season now for Algarve with round 6, the Dutch Grand Prix circuit itself of Zandvoort. And then round 7, which I think is going to be one of the most potent races here in the Formula 3 of Road America for the finale. Absolutely fantastic stuff here, Rob. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice list of tracks, Zippy, although, you know what? As much as I love Portimao, I'm not looking forward to Zandvoort next week. It's a track that, you know, I've never really had much luck in, so I'm really kind of just focused on this one. But we've got, I believe last check, about 16 drivers in the session here this week, so that's probably about a perfect number. Maybe 1 or 2 more up around the 20 mark would be an excellent race, but we got some strong contenders this week. Looks like it's going to shape out to be a real quality race.
Absolutely, absolutely indeed. There is, it's looking like it's going to be quality, and we are noticing actually we've only got one coach in today. It's Mr. Kane Halliburton. Don't get me wrong, he is a very potent coach, but Brian Lockwood, I'm not too sure why he's not here, but I can tell you exactly where Connor Bell is today. He's actually at Calabogie in Ontario today, competing in the NASCAR Canada Series, so we are going to wish him the best of luck. It sounded like things went really well yesterday for him in practice. It's there was no official timing, but from the timing that they could get, it looked like they were looking at a pole. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's definitely good to see that one of our Almeida Racing Academy coaches having a lot of luck here and a lot of success here in his real-life racing career.
Yeah, no doubt. Connor's showing that real-life skills translate to sim, and then vice versa, being able to kind of dominate week in, week out here. Reese. I was just going to say, we still haven't heard from Reese, but Zippy, that Connor Bell is showing you how that skills translate from one form of racing to the other, whether it's on the sim or in real-life racing, which we've seen with a number of the drivers in the Almeida Academy. Andrew Moran is one that I can think of off the top of my head, too, as well.
Absolutely, and indeed on Pit Road Productions, certainly we've got a couple of series where you do indeed do a sim to reality experience. Certainly, we do have those. Obviously, BIS being a big one for that with the Radical Cup Canada and the F1600 Championship as well. And we also have the F1200 Championship come over on Pit Road Productions as well. But while we're speaking about Pit Road, ladies and gentlemen, please hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We do have a couple more subscribers drop in. Thank you very much to those people who have. And if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button on Swellio's channel as well. Definitely 2 different kinds of content, ladies and gentlemen. Swellio is definitely a lot better video feed. I'm going to give him that for sure. And certainly a lot bit kinder on the eyes from when you do see real people. Rob's pretty good looking, but then you've got to deal with me, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, as we're having a look here, the qualifying is indeed just getting underway. And I've got to say, Rob knows exactly which buttons to press there. He's got my favourite colour team here, the British Racing Green team, currently driven by Sloan Collier, the British driver, who's currently resting in P9. As I say that, P4.
He must have heard you talking about him, Zippy, but right now it looks like it's going to be a battle between the BRG teams, the British Racing Green drivers, and the grey, kind of silverish drivers here this evening, as a majority of the field is made up of those 2 colors. We got a couple blue teams in here, a couple red teams, but so far this season it's been a lot of the green team drivers and the gray team drivers who have really led the way here, and John Morandini, a name that we've seen been fairly competitive in the races, but in qualifying hasn't really found himself up near the top, but right now sit top spot with a 138.32, 800ths up on Declan Marsden.
Yeah, he's definitely been doing well in the Formula 3 for sure. And since he's joined, he's not one that we've seen on the top of the podium too often, but he's definitely still somebody who you can't really write off by any means. Certainly, if we have a look very quickly at car number 12, yeah, Rob knew exactly which kind of car I was going for. So we have a look there at car 12 here. Vijay Radhasakuran now, I believe he managed to get the, did he do the Triple Crown one night, or did he certainly get 2 out of 3? Certainly a very potent driver indeed, and he's shown us so far that if you can indeed start at the front, I managed to pull away a little bit of a gap here in these Formula 3s, and it can be quite a successful strategy. The problem is you've just got to be able to break that toe.
Yeah, I think it was 2 out of 3 last week, Zippy. I don't think he won the first race because it was the invert after, stuck him near the front, and as you mentioned, just kind of walked away from the field, showing that draft isn't necessarily all that potent in the F3s. If you can break it, you can definitely walk away from the pack. So sitting strong so far in qualifying this week, sitting in 4th place. I expect him to maybe pick up another spot or 2. But qualifying time starting to run down as they only have, I guess, 15 minutes. They got about halfway through. I was thinking we were running a 10-minute session, but still plenty of time for our drivers to move up and down the field. But fan favorite Leon Bennett's sitting in 7th place right now, just across the line to start another lap here. We'll see if he's able to improve next time by.
Yeah, certainly great to talk to him as well. Definitely enjoy having him here in the commentary booth. Certainly, you know, we do find you get different skill sets, and I think this is something more for the, I guess, the modern driver as well, Rob, if you think about it like this, I guess. So if you think about some of the drivers that we see here on the television and stuff like that, they will literally have people who will coach them. As we're going to take a quick look here at Vijay Radhasakuran, the number 12 car, as indeed he's just done it. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, he's just gone and slingshot himself up to the top of the standings, and not by a small margin, by almost 6 tenths. Absolutely insane lap as he takes a nice, beautiful off track there.
Yeah, I was just mentioning that I expect him to pick up more spots. If he must have heard me and figured he'd show me how many spots he could pick up. But nice lap by Vijay, asserting his dominance again this week so far.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. To get back onto the subject of like media training and stuff like that. So with the modern racing driver, I guess, I mean, it's not just about driving the car. They do get trained to do interviews and stuff like that. And definitely some people are easier to interview than others. Some, you know, you'd be lucky to get a word out of them. Others, it's more of a you could get a almost a bibliography, perhaps, and maybe not the correct word, but you knew what I intended, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly, it's good to to get a good portion of these drivers in through the booth, and we do try and mix it up a bit as well. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes, you know, we will just take the podium finishers, but if you feel you've had a really good battle, by all means, after the race, stop in on the interview booth as well. We'd love to have a chat with you, and we do like to mix it up a little bit there and speak to as many people on the grid as we possibly can. But right now, we're on board with Kevin Adrian. Rob, why don't you talk us through a flying wrap here at Algarve?
Yeah, Kevin heading across the start-finish line. This is going to start his qualifying lap here. Heavy braking section into turn 1. Looks like Kevin's actually not going to make it. He's going to bail out. And there we go. We need a medic in turn 1, please, for Kevin Adrian. But yeah, it's turn 1, as I was going to say, is a real heavy braking section, Zippy. It's off camber, and it's also back uphill a little bit. But there's a nasty curb on the inside of the corner there. You hit that, and these tightly sprung F3 cars aren't going to be real happy. It can throw you off track and end up similar to what we just saw happen to Kevin Adrian.
Well, certainly, it seems to be the Pit Road Productions way. Whenever we choose a driver for an onboard lap, it usually ends up eating in some car, getting very broken. So we're going to try and give this another go in a second here, Rob. Definitely, we're looking for a good, keen driver, and I think Ben Belson may be on it. But let's have a look here. It's Declan Marsden, the Welshman. Is he going to be your onboard lap here, Rob?
Yeah, he's heading out of the final sector here now, so we'll go on board with him. This fast sweeping right-hander. In some cars it's a lift, but in the F3s it's going to be full throttle all the way around here, Zippy. And then down the long front straight. It'll be interesting to see how strong the draft is in these cars this week. I know F3 generally has a fairly strong draft, similar to like the F4 cars, but down into turn 1 where we saw Kevin Adrian bail off last time, hopefully Declan Marsden's going to take us in through. And you can see that nasty curb on the inside. He just kind of tagged it. See the car get unsettled, and he's going to bail on his lap too as well. So you can see how challenging the first sector is for sure.
Yeah, well, we are 2 out of 2. We're going to see if third time is the charm, as we are going to try and get you an onboard lap. Thankfully, we do have about another 4 minutes left in this session for free and change, as we're going to try here with Martin Visser in the 137.
Yeah, let's hope for third time's the charm here, Zippy. Is Visser heads us into turn one, avoids that inside curb, then it's a double right-hander here. Tricky, there's no brake marker for this section here, so you really have to go by feel and the way you learn the track. Then off camber, left hand, blind corner up here, fades away. It's easy to lose the back end of the car. You see a little bit of correction on the steering by Visser not to lose the back end. And this is probably your second actually great overtaking opportunity down here into this turn. Dive up onto the inside. You can really get a nice run out of this corner, but it's going to be a real leap of faith for some of the drivers to dive up onto there. These cars have no ABS, so it'll be real tricky. Double right-hander again, another area where you can really lose the back end of the car. You have to be careful here. You can see a little bit of correction in the steering by Martin Visser as we head through that section. Well done by him to hold onto the back end. This is probably my favorite section right here, Zippy, the blind right-hander, double right-hander into this corner here. You come out wide, then arc it back in, and then hammer down onto the throttle as you start your charge up into the final sector. Quick little left-hander coming up here, and then it's another shot down the double right-hander that we saw earlier with Declan Marsden before he bailed off into turn one. So we'll see if Visser able to finish up this lap and see if he's able to improve. Currently sitting in, I believe, 14th place, so he'd like to improve on that as he comes around the fast final corner here and up to the start finish line.
Yeah, definitely a lot of elevation change and a lot of blind corners there, Rob. I think I've only ever driven this one in a Formula B, and that was enough of a challenge as it is. As I do believe I've just heard from our comrade now, and okay, yeah, it looks like Reese Gardner is indeed going to be joining us in just a moment.
Excellent stuff. It's hard to beat the skill and qualities of a Reese Gardner on the mic, even if you have a Zippy on the mic.
There is never going to be another Zippy on the mic, ladies and gentlemen. We can save you that peril. I do believe Reese is coming in. It's up to him at the minute. Obviously, you know, real life things happen, ladies and gentlemen. So regardless of what he chooses to do, needs must, you know what, you've got me and Rob here to give you a hand, and we're not going to hold it against him. At least we're not going to hold you know, if he needs a little bit of time here at Pit Road Productions. But certainly we'll see Cairo Ends now. Though this is he's maybe not the crowd favorite, but I've got to say his fan base is incredibly loyal. We got to see we see Canadian Cutting Edge, also known as Jake Ends, there is joining us every week. We did intend to put up a fan cam for him, but honestly, I'm feeling like I've just been run over by a couple of these drivers at this point, and it absolutely blanked my mind. So my apologies there to Jake, but we are hearing that Cairo has had a lot of fun practicing here this week.
Yeah, Cairo, one of the drivers that always brings in a big fan club with them, Zippy, and they're here again this week. So Cairo's actually had a fairly competitive season here. We've seen him battling up towards the front, a little farther back in the qualifying standings right now where you probably want to be, but he's had some excellent finishes, some unfortunate incidents too as well, getting tied up in some wrecks that if I remember correctly weren't necessarily all his fault, just kind of got wrong place, wrong time. So it'll be interesting to see how Cairo does here tonight.
Well, I do see one of his teammates up ahead of him. I wonder if that could maybe help him on the straightaways, maybe give him a little bit of a draft there, Martin Visser. And I got to say, you do see some of the drivers being a lot more team-friendly than others. It really is. Some of these tracks, especially, you need that draft to try and get the most out of it. And this is probably one of the biggest people that you'll see for teamwork. It's Sammy Hendricks in that number 27.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he does any bump drafting again for you here, Zippy. I know you're always eager to see if Sammy throws the front wing up under the tailpipe of one of the other cars under each session. He's been one of our drivers who's really kind of pushed the envelope each time. The junior coach, not afraid to get dirty with the front end of his Formula 3 car.
Yeah, definitely not. I'm yet to find something that Sammy Hendricks will not bump draft in. As we see Leon Benbelsen, definitely one of the feisty drivers, as that indeed does bring qualification to an end. Let's get ready for your grid, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that beautiful scenic shot. Those tires actually, you can see why they're in a tire wall, ladies and gentlemen. There is a little bit of tread there, but look like they've seen better days. But Vijay Ratasakara, the Palestine driver, takes the top spot again. Actually, we've got a Palestine front grid. Look at that. Mahid Rahman, he's also one of the novice coaches. He takes P2 with John Morandini in third. Michael Prechuk, the Polish driver, is in fourth with Declan Marsden representing Wales there. In fifth with Amin Alishai in sixth. Sammy Hendricks takes seventh with crowd favourite Leon Bentvelsen in eighth, with Simon Collier in ninth, and Cairo Ends rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, we pick up Martin Visser in 11th. Brian Lenzi going to start in 12th. Garrett Lund in 13th. Andrew Calabrese in 14th, Jan Janchik in 15th, Marco Chacon 16th, Kevin Adrian and Kane Halliburton get around with the 18 car field here today.
Yeah, definitely one of the smaller fields we've seen here, but definitely enough so you have people to play with. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is indeed a standing start. And don't get me wrong, that could be a very good thing or indeed a very bad thing myself. I find it's a lot of fun, but definitely you do tend to see a little bit more of a chaotic start. And I got to say, I'm loving the camera work here, Rob. Absolutely fantastic shot there. And you can see the people there in the pit lane absolutely mute with cheers and stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I think iRacing maybe needs to work on the crowd control, and maybe they've just got their voice chat muted, Rob. I mean, that could be it, but you can see the grid lining up here. Definitely, it's going to be a fun race here for Heat 1 of the Almeida Racing League.
Yeah, it looks like we're just waiting for a couple drivers to grid up. Sammy Hendricks and our pole sitter, VJ Rajasekharan. So once that clicks off, there's Hendricks now, just waiting for our top dog in this one, Rajasekharan, and then we'll be getting underway. But iRacing fans tend to look like a little bit of zombies, Zippy, so not really all that surprising that we see them kind of mute up in the crowd there. But it's like VJ going to push it right to the very end of the clock here.
Yeah, you see that screen at the top of the pit stands as well. I'd love it if we could actually get a hold of that and be able to start, putting our own images in there, our own advertisements. That would be really cool. But it looks like the lights are indeed going up. Rajasekharan's going to be starting on the front of the grid. Are we going to see a little bit of cooperation here between VJ and Mahid? As you see, away they go, ladies and gentlemen. Green, 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 and Rajasekharan, you can see already able to stay up, out in front, but side by side, back in P3 as Michael Prechik and John Morandini go side by side, and it looks like indeed Mahid Rahman is indeed going to challenge for the lead.
Yeah, it looks like Rahman thought about making the move up the inside, backed out, but now those two Palestinian drivers starting to break away already, Zippy, from Michael Prechik in third place. We'll see here if Rahman goes for another move down into turn 5 here. It's the second real great overtaking opportunity I mentioned early on, but it looks like Rahman going to stay tucked in behind, see if the two of them can start to pull away from drivers in behind.
Something happened with Martin Visser and indeed Brian Lenzi, so I guess Jake ends the curse is not over yet there for Visser, but it does appear that he is indeed he may be in the pits actually. Yeah, himself and Lenzi in the pits, both of them rocking the meatball flag. Let's find out exactly what happened to them at the start of this race. There's Visser there, and I believe on the outside gets a bit of a spin, gets caught up, gets hooked up, and away she goes, rolls right back. That's two cars very much needing a little bit of mechanical refinement. Reese Gardner joins the booth.
I do indeed. I apologize for being late. Issues outside of the sim. But I came just in time for the start of this race and are already making their way around to the end of the first lap here. VJ Rajasekharan is starting to pull away here from that pole position. And something that we've become a bit used to, Zippy, the similar form that we saw at Fuji the last two races at the Japanese circuit. VJ Rajasekharan just as fast there, and it seems like Algarve is smiling on him as well. But Rahman and Prechuk here, not much between them here at the end of lap 1. There he goes up the inside, trying on Mahid Rahman, who goes wide through turn 2. Gently does it. Oh, there we go. That's big. That is big. Massive incident. And apparently it's blowing out my mic, so I'm going to turn that down.
Well, all it is, Reese, is it's having a hard time containing your excitement, and I gotta say, I completely understand that. Poor microphone is definitely seen some action, as indeed has the 23 driver, Leon Benbalson, looking to try and make his way up, but it looks like Amin Al-Ashahi trying to get in on the action. Cairo Enns now in a fight alongside Sammy Hendricks. These two guys side by side as they're going up through the left-hander. It's going to be Cairo Enns versus Sammy Hendricks, 27 versus 332. They've been side by side for 2 corners now, maybe even 3 corners now, and it looks like Enns is going to get on the inside line. Can he hold off the novice coach? Sammy Hendricks looking to fight back on the outside, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is really good fighting here, and well, looks like Team Blue Cars love darting out of the inside line very quickly at every single corner of this race. Sammy Hendricks now trying the exact same thing, and oh, that might be a little bit too deep there. That was almost a massive crash, and it's caused a spin for Cairo Enns, and it looks like we've had Al-Ashahi and Halliburton caught up in that one as well. Jan Janchik has gone right into that one too. That is massive crash once again. This has been a really tough start to this race, to say the least, Zippy.
Yeah, definitely not what they had in mind. Let's take a quick look at the replay. Enz versus Hendricks. I gotta say, beautiful move there by Hendricks up on the inside. And it looks like Enz just gets a little bit loose there. Kane Halliburton get caught in that. Yan Cheek almost ended up mounting his teammate there. Both of these cars actually, looks like Enz and indeed, yeah, just Enz with a meatball flag at the minute, but a few drivers definitely falling casualty to that, Kane Halliburton included. But right now, Vijay Rathasakaran, we've seen him do it before. Can he do it again? He's pulled out a 1.7 second gap, but Mahid Rahman now going up against Declan Marsden with Leon Benvalsen and John Morandini very much in pursuit.
Yep, the top 5 have managed to avoid the worst of it here. That incident ended up taking out Alashahi, Enz, and Halliburton from the race. So, yeah, that's quite a race of attrition that's going on at the moment. But, yeah, this fight is continuing on here for Mahid Rahman. Right now, he doesn't have much company behind, but it is a Team Blue car still. Declan Marsden now trying to go up the inside here. This middle section of the circuit has a lot of great overtaking opportunities if you can play your cards right, but seems a lot of drivers are finding it difficult to make the moves cleanly.
That's fair. I've got to be honest, there's a lot of blind corners I'm finding in this circuit, and you're kind of using the force. I mean, hopefully we don't get in trouble for copyright for that, but you know what, using the force, we're going to say it's physics, ladies and gentlemen. And certainly, I mean, we are pretty nerdy guys, but I don't think we're quite Star Wars nerdy guys. Now they can go after us. You see Mahid Rahman there in P2 with Declan Marsden very much in pursuit. And we got another battle happening as well. Starting from P7, go all the way down to P11 as well. You can see that this absolutely, this train of cars being led by Simon Collier. But we do have the free greens as side by side. Mahid Rahman is going with Declan Marsden, able to get up on the inside. Rahman taking a little bit of a wider line there, and Ben Velsen looking to put a nose in as well.
Well, Declan Marsden doing what Mikhail Prechuk ultimately could not, unfortunately. But now Rahman looking for a way back past Marsden into the hairpin, and Leon Benvelsen, who we've seen has been quite a force to be reckoned with in these F3s, is now catching up to these two. The more you battle, the more you run side by side, the more time you cost each other. So let's hope that Marsden has the pace to at least put some space between himself and Rahman. Otherwise, the both of them might get nabbed by Leon and John Morandini behind.
Yeah, certainly Leon's not going to say no to an opportunity, and I can't fault him for that. You want to try and move yourself, not just up from P4, but up onto the podium. But you do see himself and Morandini both rocking them Team White liveries there. I do have to wonder if these guys... Team Grey then. Let's go Grey. Rob would know very much about Grey, ladies and gentlemen. If you've ever seen him on a camera, I'm sure you can understand there. Certainly working with me, he's probably going to get a few more. Maybe even a few white hairs, or indeed become like Reece Gardner and have very little hair at all. But certainly you got to understand that these two guys may indeed be working together to try and move themselves both up onto the podium.
Yeah, that is the big deal you have to make out of this sort of mid-race phase, working your way onto the podium, hoping that there's going to be more of a fight here, as it looks like there will be for second. Mahid Rahman trying around the outside of Declan Marsden and goes off the racetrack as a result, and Ben Velsen sees the opportunity. The door is open to the inside, gets alongside Rahman's rear axle, but it's not quite enough. He's going to catch the curb. He's going to fight the rear of the car over the crest there at turn 4. Such a difficult corner, and now it's last of the late breakers again into the hairpin. Ben Velsen positioning his car very well there, but Rahman holding strong around the outside. This is going to go all the way to the next corner.
Yeah, very, very slightest of lockups there. I thought there was going to be contact, but managed to hold it, thankfully. And the thing is as well, when you do lock up, instinctively you want to brake harder, and that's not going to help. You actually need to lift off, try to get that wheel start spinning again, as he has indeed managed to make the move. Mahid Rahman, though, under attack. John Morandini looking to get in on the action, move himself up onto P4.
Yeah, nicely done for John Morandini to drive cleanly while these guys ahead have been fighting. Sammy Hendricks is now a part of this battle too. Seems like every time a pass is made, another driver joins the fray, and now it's bookended by Team Blue machines. In fact, it's almost a perfect mirror image. You've got a blue, a grey, a black, a grey, and a blue. It's what's the word? It's a palindrome. It's a palindrome of cars for second.
Well, it looks like these guys are going to rearrange it just to go and stick it to you, and I can't say I fault them for that. As Declan Marsden, I think this is the best position we've ever seen him in, actually. The Welsh driver has been getting more and more comfortable with that Formula 3, and right now he is indeed, don't get me wrong, Vijay Radhasakar's pulled away about 3.6 seconds. He's out of here. You know, short of a mistake, he is out of here. But now, can Marsden hold off the pack behind him as Mahid Rahman has managed to make his way back past Ben Belsen?
Yeah, good job for Mahid Rahman. But what we can see is everyone's looking to pounce at the exact right moment. And this time, Sammy Hendricks is the one to get it done on John Morandini. So change for 5th there. And Hendricks has been holding on to great pace. He was actually the fastest of everybody on the previous lap. The ultimate fastest lap of the race still belongs to Vijay Rajasekaran, but Sammy Hendricks getting pretty close to it, almost within a 10th. Yeah,
definitely Sammy's definitely getting more and more comfortable with this car as well. I mean, he's been here at the Almeida Racing League since day one, and it's fair to say I've enjoyed having him on here, and definitely an interesting interview, an interesting person to interview, as I believe something's happened with Garrett Lund as well.
Yeah, let's have a look. Coming through turn 3, caught the sausage curb there on the inside, and it was battling ahead of them. Looks like, oh, yeah, okay. So he did that one all by himself, unfortunately. Turn 4, coming up over the crest, very easy to lose the rear end. Rahman now under threat, and Ben Velsen's gotten past him for 3rd. Hendricks is going to try and follow him through here, but that's quite a bit of understeer there for Mahid Rahman. Gets into the side of Hendricks, but they both keep going, and Morandini says, thank you very much, my friend. I will take that 5th place back.
Yeah, that was almost like a buy one, lose one free there for Mahid Rahman. He definitely ended up eating that one a little bit, but he's keen to fight back. This little bit here reminding me of the Red Bull Ring very slightly, as he has made his intentions very clear, and you can see there, that's the draft in action. He pulls out with the draft being given there by Hendricks. Morandini able to basically just say, no, you don't, and slingshots his way back ahead of Rahman.
Yeah, well done. Nicely executed in that fight. Now, Sammy Hendricks and John Morandini will close in on each other as Ben Belsen's starting to get about an 8/10 of a second gap. I also notice that Marco Chacon and Mikhail Prechuk, they've been very close for 9th place as well. They've exchanged moves a couple of times. It's a bit of difference between them for the moment, but Prechuk still has some chances of creeping further into the top 10 as this race goes on. That battle's stalled out for now. So we'll go back to our lead, Vijay Rajasekaran, and he's now out there by 3.5 seconds. And this is just a carbon copy of Fuji, I think. Rajasekaran out in front and taking advantage of the clear air, clearly the fastest driver. And yeah, as everyone battles behind for the scraps, he takes the spoils.
Yeah, he's definitely been doing very well, but the battle, I think the biggest ones going are indeed from P3 down to about P6, maybe even P7. Simon Collier about 1.3 seconds back from Mahid Rahman. If he can catch up, he could indeed get involved in this as well. As you see, Ben Belsen currently there in P3. They are indeed spreading out a little bit here, but we are going to see the draft at work. Certainly going down the straight, these guys will all start to accordion together and potentially will have a fight in a lap or two.
Yes, all it takes is one error, one missed turn in, brake or apex, and it'll bring everybody back together again. But Ben Belsen showing from the very start of the season that the F3 is the car that suits him the best out of anything that the Almeida Racing League has run, save for probably the LMP3 in a previous season. He really likes these stiff, slick-tired cars, doesn't he?
Yeah, it certainly seems to be working well for him as we see a little bit of a lockup from Hendricks behind. But I got to be honest, if I think of all of the races we've broadcast here on Pit Road Productions and indeed on Suelio Almeida's channel as well, for sheer action, I think the LMP3, that race star, Jose Carlos
at Interlagos,
yeah, that was actually 5 wide, and we're just like, oh gosh, that was one for the record books.
Certainly was. Maybe this pass is going to be one for the record books too, because Sammy Hendricks is now on Leon Ben Belsen for the podium, and you see what he just did there? He went for the over-under. That's a perfect way to execute that corner, and he's forced Ben Belsen defensive. Try and stick it around the outside. Bit of oversteer as he tries to maintain the side-by-side, but it's not going to work out for him this time. Needs to get into the slipstream, take advantage of this long run. That's effectively the last proper corner they just went through. There is one more turn to go, but it's flat out in these cars.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly, he's putting in a good battle there, but he's got to worry about the number 5 of John Morandini right behind him. Incredible stuff. As you see the slipstream in action there, Hendricks able to pull up. We're going to see a side-by-side going through turn 1.
On the outside, they almost interlocked wheels there. Bentvelsen was pushing it, and here comes Morandini to take advantage of the little bit of action through the first turn there. You don't want to run side by side through there for too long because you just cost each other about half a second or so. But Morandini loses the rear end at turn 4. And that's going to be the end of his involvement in that fight. He will remain in the top 10 for the moment, but it looks like Chacon and Prechuk have made their way past him. Still a few seconds back to Kevin Adrian, so Morandini is still safe in 10th for the moment, but that's a huge loss for him.
Yeah, we are indeed on the white flag lap as well. It's getting near the end of this first race. And I've got to say, it's been a race full of action. Certainly battles happening throughout the field as we return to the battle between Michael Prechuk and indeed the Team Raccoon Racing of Marco Chacon. It looks like Prechuk has managed to close in a little bit there. Is he going to be able to make his way past the number 11 car?
It was a battle for 9th. Now it is a battle for 8th, and Marco delaying his turn in a little bit there. That might give half a chance to Mikhail Prechuk, but for the moment, looks like plenty of space between them. Prechuk does seem more confident on the brakes, though. None of that is in the mind of Vijay Rajasekaran, though. Absolutely cruising out the front. He is going to take the first win of the night here at Autodromo Internacional do Algarve. Declan Marsden and Sammy Hendricks make it an all-team blue podium. Well done to the both of them. Bentvelsen and Rahman will round out your top 5.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's the first time we've seen a solid podium from a whole team. I don't think we've seen that yet. Certainly, it's definitely good for Team Blue. That's going to absolutely help them in the points championship. We are hoping to get some information on that as well. Certainly, I believe there were some issues with a bot, from what I understand, which helped calculate all of that information for us. And hopefully we can get some graphics pop up. But you can see there, Vijay Rajasekaran.
Oh, okay. Apparently, we were going an extra lap. The timing screen's glitched out for us, so the race isn't actually over yet.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The end will indeed maybe never come. Maybe it's a funky session. Maybe it is a race till the end, ladies and gentlemen. Race until you drop. Certainly, that would be an interesting endurance race. Let's just see how long you can keep going. Actually, does remind me of, I don't know if you heard about this as well, Reese. There was a driver who did the 24 hours. I think it was Daytona solo. And he actually, I don't think he finished, but he did like 18 or 19 hours of it. And he, don't get me wrong, he got disqualified, but you know what, power to him. It actually got quite a little bit of a following on Reddit as well.
Yeah, my good mate Keenan Kusin, streaming as Aero on Twitch, actually has done the Daytona 24 solo in the past, but solo win here for Vijay Rajasekaran, and there he goes. And Marsden and Hendricks will complete your podium with Bentvelsen and Rahman rounding out your top 5. Take 2, absolutely nailed it, if I do say so myself. Marco Chacon beats Mikhail Prechuk to the line. Andrew Calabrese finishing ahead of them in 7th, and John Morandini lucky to hold on to a top 10 after his incident there in the dying laps.
I've just realised what the part is I did mean to do earlier. We didn't do the race format, Rob. That's what we forgot. I knew there was something. But again, this is why we keep Reese around, ladies and gentlemen, because he keeps me accountable and indeed tries to keep me in order. Here you go. So they had a 60-minute practice with 15 minutes of open qualifying. Heat race 1 was 15. Heat race 2, 15 minutes with a randomised invert, ladies and gentlemen, with the feature race being 20 minutes long, set by Heat 2. I do believe they do get one fast repair now. And it is indeed a fixed setup, ladies and gentlemen, as we see Jan Janchik there making his way across the line.
Yeah, that was certainly a difficult one for Janchik, and well, I think he's just demonstrating there what he thinks of his race. It was a real tough one for him, involved in an incident not of his own making. So hopefully he has a better race 2 and 3. Amin Al-Shahi, the other driver who got involved in that crash that Cairo Enns was involved in, and Al-Shahi a little bit slower than I thought he would be there coming through the last couple of turns, but looks like he might still be able to hold off Cairo Enns. Yeah, it looks like enough space to the line, and it's complete for the both of them. Yeah, ends going sideways across the line, and, well, I guess he didn't need that rear drive shaft anymore anyway.
I'm going to call that the Latifi, ladies and gentlemen, as Andrew Calabrese was your hard charger in that race. But here's the results for race 1. We're going to stream through these pretty quick because I don't know if we're going to get the grid hole. But Vijay Radhasakuran took P1 with Declan Miles in the P2. Hendricks takes 3rd with Bent Belson in 4th. Mahid Rahman in 5th. Simon Collier takes 6th with Andrew Calabrese in 7th. Marco Chacon takes 8th. Michael Pretrick in 9th. And John Merendini closing out your top 10. Let's actually take a quick look here at the grid, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let's try and do both at once. There we go. Ooh. As Michael Prechuk is going to start on the front row alongside Marco Chacon. So it looks like there has been a slight invert there. Andrew Calabrese takes 3rd with Simon Collier in 4th. Mahid Rahman takes 5th with Bent Belson there in 6th. Sammy Hendricks takes 7th. Declan Martin in 8th with Vijay Radhasakuran. So I think it is the top 9 invert, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Is going to be in the 9 with John Marandini there closing out your top 10.
Yeah, the top 9 getting inverted for this one. In 11th, Kevin Adrian with Garrett Lund alongside on the 6th row. Yan Yan Cheek and Amin Alishahi on row 7. Cairo Enns, Martin Visa, Brian Lenz and Kane Halliburton will round out your field. 18 cars to take to the start here. So turns out that battle between Pritchuk and Chacon was quite significant. It defined our front row for this second race. Plenty of opportunities to get big points from this one and put your name on the board, so to speak. Pritchuk having his issues in race 1, but he clearly has the pace to fight for podiums, so maybe this start from the front will work out for him.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we have seen it happen time and time here again with the Formula 3s. If you can get out front and start to form a little bit of a gap there, it can work in your favor. Let's give a little bit of a shout out, though, to the academy coaches. On this occasion, it's going to be Kane Halliburton. Thank you to him. He did actually give us that grid hold. He's going to be rocking that number 13 car. I think he got up as high as 8 positions gained earlier on. I do wonder if he can do even better this time around, hopefully able to avoid any incidents there. Cairo Enns sadly getting into a little bit of an incident earlier on, but hopefully able to do a little bit better this time around. Certainly we've got Jake Enns there in the chat cheering him on and wishing him the best. As here's your pole set, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we did have him. Let's go back again. Yeah, Michael Prechuk, the Polish driver who's going to be starting us off here for Heat 2.
Yep, 40 seconds remaining on the grid timer, so it just builds the tension, doesn't it? And I'm hearing one driver who's been revving their engine sky high ever since they got onto the grid. I think it might be either Prechuk or Chacon, who's maybe trying to warm up their engine for the start here. Algarve, of course, a track with plenty of time on throttle. So the warmer your engine is, generally the better top speed you'll get. At least that's the philosophy that a lot of drivers follow. We'll see if that works out for them. As it's 3, 2, 1, grid timer over. All of our drivers are on the grid at the moment, and we'll get ourselves ready for the fight for race 2. Lights up, revs rise, and they drop. Here we are for the start of race 2. Pretty good start from Marco Chacon. He's going to try and draw alongside Mikhail Prechuk into the first turn there, but Prechuk widening the line into turn 1 will cut across the front of him and protect the lead. Moves happening behind as well. Simon Collier keeping Sammy Hendricks and Leon Bentvelsen behind him as puffs of smoke everywhere you look. And one car has turned around. Looks like it might be Alishahi. Oh dear, Collier forced wide in the midst of all of that as well.
Yeah, that was Yan Yan Cheek getting caught up in that incident earlier on with Amin Alishahi, but we already see a little bit of bumping, a little bit of banging there, and Prechuk has managed to pull away a 1-second gap. Is this going to be the opportunity he needs to get his win here at the Almeida Academy? Marco Chacon currently in second, leading a couple of cars with him, but it looks like Mahid Rahman is going to be going at it with Andrew Calabrese, and Vijay Radhasakuran as well is going at it side by side with Sammy Hendricks.
Battle of the Blues there, and that's going to be of small benefit to John Morandini, who has the luxury of choosing whatever line he wants behind them, but maybe has to back off a bit here into the braking zone. Big slide up ahead. That's Calabrese that slid wide, and he will fall back to 16th place.
Yeah, cold tires, gentlemen, cold tires. Actually, speaking of gentlemen, we'd love to see a few more ladies taking part in this as well. By all means, anybody can drive a race car. So certainly, nothing against blind people. I think you might find it a little bit challenging, but certainly, you know, it is getting more and more. We're seeing more and more of it. Certainly, I can think of a certain broadcast we do that is specifically geared to getting women in motorsport. But we'd love to see some more here in the Almeida Academy as well. And indeed, the Academy is for anybody. As I see more chaos behind, I think that may have been Garrett Lund.
Yeah, Garrett Lund somehow lost his rear wing. Looks like rear end contact from Martin Visser, and he wasn't able to get through the final corner. So, yeah, there we go. The incident had already happened at that point, but Garrett Lund trying his best to get through the final corner, and the Team Red cars having to go off there to find their way past him. Yanchik was one of them. Cairo Enns was the other. And it looks like Yanchik just taking a little stop there to clear some damage, it seems. Look at this. The fighting is on for sure up behind Marco Chacon and Leon Bentvelsen. This is the battle for Declan Marsden here, trying to get into 8th place. Morandini and Rajasekaran side by side. That works themselves out around the outside for VJ. And Kane Halliburton right on the back of them as well, up into 9th.
Yeah, it's one of those things. While we know that Halliburton is indeed quick, it's one of those things where he might be going, you know what, I think I'm going to let this cool down a little bit before I start putting my nose in there. And I couldn't fault him for doing that. As you see, a whole stream of cars ahead of him, certainly at these kinds of speeds as well. You certainly want to be careful, as that looks like a move there from Simon Collier going in against Brian Lenzi. And I don't know if he quite got away with it. It looks like Collier able to hold on to that position. No, not quite. Lenzi did actually make it by.
Yeah, nice job there from Brian. And up from 17th to 12th, a solid run up the field thus far for Brian Lenzi. Kevin Adrian might stand a chance of finding his way past either of those two if they keep battling as they are. Speaking of battles, looks like all the way over to the pit wall goes Brian Lenzi. But Collier in the slipstream draws alongside on the way into turn 1. As long as you keep 2 wheels on the curbs, you're good in terms of track limits, but too wide for Collier. Now he has to defend from Adrian. Oh, God, okay. Who's that? That's Sammy Hendricks that's gone around there. That's at turn 3. Obviously a move gone awry, and Bentvelsen's found his way into 2nd.
Let's find out what happened. You see there a little bit of curb, but not enough to unsettle the cars. Hendricks there on the outside gets a little bit caught up there on that Team Grey car. Must have been Morandini, I believe. We'll take a look here in just a few short moments. But you see Leon Bentvelsen, there's going to be a crowd cheering for this gentleman here. The Dutch driver has moved his way up into P2. That car appears to be fine. And Michael Prechik has pulled away a 6.3 second gap as we see more spinnings going on. And this time it's Marco Chacon, the Team Raccoon Racing driver, has sadly had an incident. And I almost wonder if he's bottomed out there a little bit, trying to get back on the track. Thankfully able to get by and able to get that car recovered. But Kane Halliburton now, he's up 12 positions from where he started. Here's a replay, though, of what happened to Marco Chacon.
Oh, caught the gravel on the way out, and that was very close for the Team Blue car getting involved in that one. The next driver to have a problem is John Morandini. He's fallen all the way back behind Visser and Elishahi down into 14th place, and oh dear, that is Brian Lenzi, I think, that got involved there. Morandini losing the bodywork from his left side there. I haven't seen the radiators in an F3 before, and that's my chance to see them.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind actually having another look at that. That would kind of cool. But we're going to stay with Leon Bentvelsen right now, because if you look right behind him, we could just see him a moment ago. It's the number 17 of Mahid Rahman. These guys have definitely raced before. Actually, Mahid, I'm thankful to this gentleman. He sometimes comes and sees me when I stream on Twitch. Sir Zippy, if you're actually sorry, Zippy on the mic, if you're ever bored enough and want to watch me try and race, ladies and gentlemen. But it looks like Mahid Rahman there. He's currently on the podium. He's got VJ Rajasekaran behind him. That is a huge slide there from Halliburton, and he's got away with it as well. But I've got to say, that is probably the most style points pass we've seen yet. Can we see that again, Rob? Thank you very much.
Oh, so this is how Kane Halliburton got it done on Declan Marsden. Pulls it out and deep under the brakes, and yeah, nice slide on the way in. Helped to get the car rotated for the slowest corner on this racetrack. A very fast racetrack here at Algarve. Brian Lenzi now finding his way up to P11, and the stricken Sammy Hendricks is his next target. And having a look at Hendricks there, I thought for a moment I saw some rear bodywork missing, but I think that's just normal bodywork. But no, actually, Hendricks has lost his right side bodywork. So we can see the exhaust, we can see the engine, we can see the radiators as well. I mean, it's good for learning about how an F3 car is put together, but I can't think that'd be good for aerodynamics.
Rob's going to be all over it, trying to find which cameras he's got to really show us that. And look at that. That's fantastic stuff. And you do have to wonder as well, like, how on earth they fit so much engine and technology in such a small space, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm only 5'10", if just in case you're wondering. But you can see here, Sammy Hendricks in P10, but he's got Lenzi behind, just 0.2 of a second, 0.1 of a second. Lenzi is hot in pursuit. As you can see, that exhaust really... what an unusual layout. Tubular manifold goes forward and then doubles back. Interesting. Some serious curvature there, quite limiting in the flow, actually.
Well, you are a mechanic by trade, so you would know what you're talking about in that respect. Well, maybe you'll see a job working for an F3 team at some point in the future if you can connect the dots on that. Halliburton up to 5th place, meanwhile, and Vijay Rajasekaran is his next target. This, I think, is what demonstrates what we've been talking about the last 2 rounds the best. The leader has the advantage in these cars. Great slide from Halliburton there. But Rajasekaran, he was the runaway winner for race 1. Now that he's got a couple of cars ahead of him, all his pace is just gone.
Yeah, it's almost like he is a horse in the stable, and the next person who's going to be looking to make a move past him is indeed Halliburton there, who at this point I almost wonder if he's showboating. But don't get me wrong, I've driven the F3 car before. It was a while ago, and you can slide it around a little bit, but you can only get away with that for so long because there's only so much heat you can get in them tyres, and then after a certain point they just fall off and you're basically driving on hockey pucks, ladies and gentlemen, as that is definitely going to be a challenge, as we see in a little bit of an accordion effect here. Are we going to see 2 wide, 3 wide, as Ben Belson was able to hold on to that, and Rajasekaran makes his way up onto the podium.
Indeed he does. Mahid Rahman now having to defend from Kane Halliburton. Great move at turn 1. Yeah, let's see. How soon does he go over to defend? Does he even defend? Because Halliburton seems to love making passes at this hairpin. Pulls out of the slipstream, but Rahman just as late on the brakes as Halliburton is, and able to hold him off on the way through the tight left-hander. That's a good exit once again from our coach. Is there anything he can do to find his way past here? It is an overtaking opportunity, but you've got to really get the car in front of you unsettled if you want to get past there. So your next opportunity is up here back at the top of the hill, descending down through the dip. The elevation changes around here are incredible. And Halliburton deciding it's probably best to try and make the move on the start-finish straight.
Risk versus reward race, that certainly seems to be the name of the game, but certainly anywhere can be an overtaking opportunity if you're foolish enough to try it. Myself, I'm yet to find a corner I won't try and make a pass at, ladies and gentlemen. It makes for a more entertaining, albeit slightly slightly colourful race, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just say I'm not going to be able to scream much about it. But right now, you see Kane Halliburton there in P5. He is indeed very much up the rear wing of Mahid Rahman, that 17 car, and looking to make his way up towards the podium. But right now, Rahman really doing his teammates a solid there, able to hold back the coach for a little while, who's now up 14 positions, as it looks like Vijay Rajasekaran now going side by side with Ben Velsen, fighting for second place.
Wow, completes the move at turn 1. Benvelsen clobbering the sausage curb at turn 1 there. And in the midst of all that, Rahman passed by Halliburton. Now Kane is trying on Leon here. Got to be careful with the throttle application through this section. It's very easy to run the ragged edge of disaster, powering over the crest, and Benvelsen making a slight move to the inside there, knowing that he needs to now start defending from Halliburton, who gets contact from behind. Rahman's lost his rear wing. Did Marsden get into the back of him there?
I'm not sure. It looked like a three-car incident, and Mahid Rahman a little bit of a sitting duck. Let's have a look from the rear wing camera here of Kane Halliburton to see exactly what happened. There's Rahman coming in. Locks up a little bit, just tags him, and that blue car as well. Who's that now? The number 16,
Marsden,
I believe. That's Marsden. Marsden getting caught in it as well.
Man, that's a shame. All it took was a tiny little tap. Marsden didn't really play a part in the main incident there. Just looks like, yeah, Halliburton, I think, ran a bit deep. And so Rahman then got into him. They both slowed up, and Marsden didn't really have time to react.
It almost looked like, oh, let's doggy pile on the coach, and I feel sorry for Kane. They absolutely tackled the guy, and it's fair to say that that's put him back out of this race. Poor guy's not having much luck, but in some ways as well, I do have to wonder if there's a bounty on the coach at this point. Certainly, we're not going to endorse it, but if it just happens to happen, you know, it's a little bit of a giggle. Sometimes when you see like some of the pro drivers here on the iRacing service, you know, you always want to be, you know, like I passed this driver, or I got murdered by this driver, or I did murder this driver. Not literally, as that is a little bit of a murder there. Brian Lenzy getting on a bit of a roller coaster there, and what a absolutely fantastic save. Can we see that again, Rob? That was phenomenal.
Oh. Yeah, thank you very much, Rob. So Lenzy was fighting with the Team Blue car up ahead, and I think he might have missed the no, he didn't miss the braking point. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. First time I've seen in this race, in this series actually, the old open wheel hazard of banging wheels, and well, that couldn't have been good for the spine. Thankfully, this is virtual racing.
Yeah, that definitely would have been a brown flag moment for sure. And certainly Sammy Hendricks as well, I've just seen, has picked up a meatball flag, so a little bit of damage there on his car, that number 27. But right now, it's looking good for Michael Prechuk. He's currently, the gap has dropped a little bit there. Vijay Sakaran has managed to pull him in a little bit here. But here's an onboard from Brian Lenzy. You're going to see it. He's coming in, he's using the slipstream, just goes a little bit too close, gets caught up, left rear wheel. And I wanted to watch his steering inputs, because I've got to admit, full lock, hold on, and what a save, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely the best save we've seen of the day so far. Well done, Brian Lenzy.
Yeah, very nice indeed. He did get some damage to his front wing from getting the curb there, so he might be down on pace for the rest of this race. But we are having not long to go here for Mikhail Prechuk. It's I'm showing as 1 lap to go. Seeing a replay here of Marsden coming out of the pits, and he's just slowed down, it seems. Not sure what's going on there for Declan Marsden. Maybe suffering a black flag from unsafe pit entry or speeding in the pits, maybe. Unsure. But regardless, the race is over now for Declan Marsden as well. Only 14 cars left running. And Mikhail Prechuk out in the lead now by 5.5 seconds. Just goes to show, you get into the lead of one of these F3 races and there's not much anyone can do to topple you.
Don't worry, I'm sure I could screw that up myself. I'm better off being in a pack of cars than being left to my own devices, just doing clean laps. As we see, Sammy Hendricks has indeed got that meatball flag. Let's see if we can see as to why. I know we did catch it a few moments ago, but we've not seen the incident that's actually caused it. Let's take a quick look at his car. Honestly, that doesn't look that bad.
Well, he is still missing the right-hand bodywork, but that damage was already there before, so something else must have happened to Hendricks. I suppose we'll get an answer in due course, but for now, seems like only a few seconds left on the timer as Mikhail Prechuk crosses the line here, and yeah, we are going to be going another lap here. It's going to be 10 laps to 15 minutes here at Algarve, and a lot of space between our top 3 for the moment. Fights happening really at the back end of the top 10. There's Hendricks and Lenzy for 9th and 10th, and this is where they are at the moment. Hendricks, of course, still dealing with that meatball flag, so he's probably not going to fight that too hard. Lenzy gets by without much fuss, and Cairo Enns and Marco Chacon are within a second of each other as well, so could be potential for a fight there. Looks like it's just going to be a bit of a processional last lap in the case of everyone else.
Yeah, definitely a couple of these drivers, I think, are just trying to get the car home at this point. I feel sorry for Prechuk. If he'd had like just another couple of seconds gap, he would have been able to literally slow it right down before the line hit the 15-minute mark, and I believe then he would have been able to take the checkers, or would they have still forced that? Would they have still gone and forced that white flag? I'm not quite sure.
Well, it depends, because because Barney, the flag man, puts out the white flag or the checkered flag in advance. So if the white flag is already out when you're approaching the line, then you basically have to commit to that, I think. I think that's how the system works. But for Prechuk, through this sweeping right-hander he comes, and it is going to be a well-earned victory. Started from the front thanks to the invert and kept it the whole way through.
I think that's his first win as well. Certainly, we've seen him around for a while. I do wish we could get like statistics up for these drivers, like their whole Almeida Racing League statistics. As I got to admit, considering I believe that was his first win, that was a very disappointing celebration there. As we see Martin Visser coming across the line. Maybe he has like the Kimi Raikkonen approach. It's just like, how did your race go? Very good.
Well, Prechuk is doing some donuts in the runoff area for turn 3 at the moment, so it looks like he's having some fun out there. That's a celebration. Nice to see. Mikhail Prechuk can be very happy with that victory there, as Morandini and Jančić are the last drivers to make their way across the line. Morandini, once again, a bit of a disappointment there for him. Could have had the pace to fight for a top 5 for sure, but other factors belied him that. Crosses the line in 13th with Jančić not too far behind. And that's going to be, once again, Jančić coming across the line and immediately destroying his car because he's not happy with how things went down for him in race 2, getting involved with that incident in the runoff area at the last turn in the opening laps. Prechuk takes the win by 4.7 seconds. Vijay Rajaseka and brings home a 1-2 for Team Blue. Bent Velzen, another podium to his name in the F3 series. Collier and Calabrese round out your top 5 with Visser, Adrian, Alashahi, Lenzi and Hendricks rounding out your top 10. Cairo ends, Marco Chacon, John Morandini, Jan Jančić are your last finishers there, with Halliburton, Marsden, Rahman and Lund all unfortunately falling by the wayside. So we'll keep that going from here, Zippy. We do have a warm-up session coming up. For now, time for a little word from Swelio.
The Almeida Racing League is growing fast. Hundreds of drivers, multiple splits, broadcasted races, and it's not just about individual winning, it's a team championship. You race with your own squad, you learn how to compete, and you grow together. And we don't throw you into the races blindly. Every week, we help you prepare with pit parties to train side-by-side battles, workshops with live coaching, 20 driving challenges with full tutorials, and even group raids into official iRacing races after the league night. For just $25 a month, this is the most complete training experience in sim racing. Join us as a member today to start your advanced training and racing with us. I'll see you on track.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and a huge thank you to Swello for helping make this show possible, and indeed the sponsors as well, Podium One being one of them. Certainly, if you want some simulator gear, check them out. There's some really, really nice bits of kit there, as we are indeed at Algarve today on the Grand Prix circuit of this particular track, and it looks like it's a little bit warm. Don't get me wrong, I don't know what Fahrenheit means. I mean, I know it's a unit of temperature, but it's definitely it's I could convert currency easily, more easily than I can convert temperature, ladies and gentlemen. But definitely one of the longer circuits and a lot of flat out sections here. Rain, you see, that's something we've not seen yet here in the Academy. That would be a fun one. What do you reckon, Reese? See a little bit of rain there. That'd be a fresh set of challenges for these students.
Yeah, certainly. I'd love to see a bit of wet racing going on here. It's been pretty sunny conditions for the majority of the F3 races so far. So let's take some grip away from those tires, if you please. Regardless, I think that this track is lending itself well to some fantastic racing. But yeah, it seems like if you're in second on back, there's there's no chance of gaining anything on the leader. Clear air is so important in these F3 cars. We saw it at Fuji, we saw it here. Anytime you come to Jančić is obviously exploring the limits of what is collidable out there on the racetrack. You get into the lead, you get the clear air, and you're uncatchable. So Prechuk taking the win in race 2. He's going to be starting on pole for race 3. I think, barring an error on the first lap, he might still have it.
Yeah, certainly there is indeed opportunity. As I gotta say a thank you to Payoff Wizard on Swellio's channel. He's saying, bro, 124 degrees Fahrenheit is sun surface hot. So it's fair to say that there is, yeah, I see Jake Enns in there as well, as it looks like Yan Cheek. Ironically, it seems to be that most of the time we have him on the broadcast, he appears to have a wrecked car, and I don't know if that's specific to just this warm-up session, but certainly, definitely, as you said, if I look at my event log right now, it is lit up with lots of black flags. Maybe he's starting to get the marshals to do a little procession there. Maybe it's a little dance we're not aware of. But let's maybe focus on somebody who's actually driving. It looks like Martin Visser is out there doing Team Red's very proud. And oh my gosh, Canadian cutting edge there. Jake Enns with the translation for me. Thank you very much. 51 degrees Celsius. Okay, that is flipping hot.
Certainly is. You crack an egg on the tarmac, give it about 10 minutes or so, it'll probably cook through. Yeah, it's rather warm in virtual Portugal at the moment. The time is 3 p.m. in sim, and it's static. So this weather is going to stay the same. It has stayed the same throughout the whole night. It's oh man, I can't imagine how much understeer these drivers will be getting through those faster corners.
Well, this makes me a little bit more curious as well. Why are we getting some spins on the early stages of the race here? I guess the tyres do indeed take a little bit of time to get up to temperature. They probably have, I believe this in Fahrenheit is about 120 degrees Fahrenheit is a good operating temperature, but don't hold me to it. Actually, Rob, I imagine, would probably be pretty hot on that one, actually.
125 degrees Fahrenheit is also a pretty good temperature to have filet mignon at, apparently. I should know I do eat quite a bit of steak. So, yeah, leave a nice bit of beef filet out on the circuit for a couple hours in these conditions, and you will have yourself a very nice meal. Probably taste of rubber and motor oil, though.
Yeah, certainly we are indeed pushing Reese to get the Cooking with Reese channel going, ladies and gentlemen. I'm certainly going to watch it. But right now, we're going to have a look at this. And this is fantastic opportunity here for Michael Prechuk if he can indeed hold off the second place car of VJ Radisakaran. And in third, Leon Bentvels, the crowd favourite. Simon Collier, that's the highest I've seen him come up in the standings. He's in fourth with Andrew Calabresi in fifth. Hopefully those two Team Green cars can work together. As we see Martin Visser in sixth. Kevin Adrian, good to see him moving up in seventh with Amin Alishai in eighth. Brian Lenz in ninth. And Sammy Hendricks closing out your top 10.
Yep, in 11th, Cairo ends with Marco Chacon alongside him on the 6th row. And we will have the next row being Morandini and Yanchik, Halliburton, Marsden, Rahman, and Lund round out your field. So I'm hoping that Yanchik is going to avoid any difficulties here as the lights are out. And away we go for race 3. A poor getaway for Vijay Rajasekaran. Too much wheel spin. He falls to fourth. Simon Collier and Leon Bentvelsen get past him into turn 1. And Andrew Calabresi is going to try and get up the inside there. Rajasekaran turns around and, oh dear, looks like Yanchik and Visser have gotten involved in that too. Marsden around as well. Oh lordy, Cairo ends involved in that incident as well. Big time loss for those guys and big damage as well for Yanchik, Visser, Marsden. Man, they are having such a rough time.
Do you think Yanchik might have got away with that one? If I'm looking at the timing, I believe he's on the back of the pack. Red car, blue wheels. So I have to have a look. As I say that, more chaos.
He's getting another 4 places.
Boy, he's I don't know what he's done. Maybe the crash limit testing was enough for him during the warm-up, and now he's managed to go, okay, I've done that. I can keep the car clean and maybe make a shot at gaining some places. Right now, he's not the hard charger, but he's certainly got 4 positions. Garrett Lund up 9 positions. I gotta say, it does look like a 12th down to 18th has indeed been involved in some kind of incident. It's always a spicy start here, but not that spicy as right now. Prechuk, this could be the opportunity he's been looking for. Can he? Oh no, Bentvelsen's gone wide. Really wide.
This is a chaotic first lap. Bentvelsen falling all the way to 7th, and he's going to have to fight his way through to try and get another podium from tonight's action. Oh, man. So I was looking at the incident down at the hairpin, and it looks like Mahid Rahman missed his braking point and caused that incident. He went charging right into the side of Marco Chacon. So have a look at this from Mahid Rahman. He has Hendricks, Halliburton, and Morandini ahead, loses the rear, and bam! Round he goes, and there's nowhere for Morandini and Hendricks to go either. Well, is that how a baby F3 car is made?
I think at that point they both knew they were screwed, and Sammy Hendricks just wanted to demonstrate that. Ah, dude, that was funny. Jan Jančík, though, it's good to see he's doing a bit better, as you see. We're looking to try and make his way past Garrett Lund. Now, Lund's not had the best day of racing today either, as we see moves happening throughout the field as Halliburton put his way up on the inside. That's Ben Belson up ahead. I recognize it purely because of the wheels, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Adrian currently up 2 spots and in P5 as well. And it looks like Prechuk's been able to run away a little bit. That gap now, 1.4 seconds.
Prechuk is executing this race very well at the moment. Kevin Adrian finding his way into 5th. Ben Belson miraculously holding on to 6th place even after his unfortunate running wide. I don't know if there was another car involved in that. We might have to check, but Ben Belson is one of the paciest in these F3s. So he'll waste no time trying to get past here. Has a look up the inside of Kevin Adrian. First lap crash replay here, focusing on Cairo Enns. There was contact behind, but a bit more contact up ahead. Enns wasn't even involved in the real incident there. He was able to get it going, but wow, upside down there, I think, was Rajasekaran. So this is VJ, 3 wide, and that was contact from, I think, which car was that? Oh, good Lord. So Marsden was the blue car involved. Who was the red car? Was it Visser?
I believe so. I know Visser did have to take a repair.
Yeah, so it was Visser we are hearing. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it feels like we'd been building up to an incident like that all day long. But yeah, it took until the longest race of the evening where, you know, it's going to be, I mean, the goal is to last as long as you can and treat it as a bit more of an endurance than a 15-minute race. So to have that happen to you in the first corner, it has to sting.
Well, in some ways, I actually think Cairo Enns might get lucky there, having that little bit of over-rotation on the cold tyres, because it did actually save him from a good portion of incidents, and he's currently in P11 with an undamaged car, albeit 3 seconds back from Garrett Lund. So they are hopefully going to battle a little bit there. Maybe he can make his way back into that pack, because if we look here from P2 down to P10, these guys are all relatively close to each other, and the Team Green cars are taking up 2nd, 3rd, and 4th there. We've seen a couple of incidents from Ali Shahi and Calabrese today. Can these two guys not only have a clean race but keep themselves up on the podium? As Ben Belson there, if he gets any closer, he's indeed going to have the nose of that Formula 3 up the exhaust pipe of the number 18.
Yeah, he's getting the hurry up from Kane Halliburton as well. Good exchange between Alashahi and Calabrese. Looks like Alashahi the quicker of the two, so they'll try and fly in formation and keep these two behind them. Ben Belson sees Halliburton pop to the inside. Side by side again, brushing over. Oh, dear. Both of the Team Green cars go off there. Calabrese and Alashahi obviously wanting to fight a little more over that position. That's just given Ben Belson his podium back.
Buy one, get one free scenario, and indeed he absolutely ran away with that. Thank you very much. And I already know that the chat is going to be his friend, and very valid point there from Jake Enns. He's saying attrition will be Cairo's friend on this feature, I hope. And I've got to say, I'm inclined to agree with him, as Brian Lenzi now getting into a battle with Kevin Adrian.
Change for 7th. And, well, see Jan Jančík right up the back of them as well. This is a good opportunity for Jančík to finally get a result worth talking about tonight, having to make his way from 14th on the grid for this race. And with the two Team Grey cars battling it out ahead of him, has a big chance indeed. But Garrett Lund is joining the fray now as well. A 4-way battle for 7th, a 5-way battle for 2nd. This has turned into quite the entertaining one.
Yeah, I'm definitely having fun. Actually, for the more fun this racing is, the more I'm forgetting about the absolutely blistering headache toothache that feels like somebody's absolutely punched me in the face. And yeah, I'm still this ugly, ladies and gentlemen, so maybe they should have done it a few more times. But Kevin Adrian looked like he's having a clean race so far. Now, if I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure himself and Jančík have had a little bit of rivalry before. I'm hoping they can keep it clean, as Garrett Lund, I think, is deciding not to get involved in this battle just yet. I think he's maybe hanging back unless the opportunity very clearly presents itself. You see there, he's going to get a great exit speed there. I thought he was going to get a great exit speed, be able to almost slingshot through as these guys are going side by side. I'm pretty sure Lund's just saying, you know what, I'm going to hang back for a minute. He's predicting fireworks.
Yeah, I'd be as well if I was in his position. Just let them fight amongst themselves ahead, and maybe you can find a way through. Front row seat to some good action. Kevin Adrian, meanwhile, seeing defense there from Jan Cheek, and he's going to get into 8th place. They have lost touch with Brian Lindsay up ahead, though, so I think the best they can hope for is a fight amongst themselves for 8th. Little bit wide there for Kevin Adrian. Meanwhile, Leon Benfelsen and Kane Halliburton have passed both Calabrese and Alishahi. Simon Collier holding on to 2nd place in the midst of all this. He's having a great race at the moment, but he's got 2 very fast drivers right on his heels.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. And we're getting a little bit of support here for Jan Cheek now. Jake Enns giving him some encouragement, obviously being a Team Red driver, but Ben Velsen currently holding on to 3rd position. Fair play to him. And Prechuk, he is having the day of the best day of the season for him right now. He's currently leading his 2nd race here. He won a race earlier on. Can he do it again? 2.4 seconds behind Collier, and you can see very clearly Halliburton has been able to go unscathed this race. He's up 11 spots, but if you ignore that, Garrett Lund, being the hard charger, currently resting in P10.
Side by side, Benfelsen and Collier exchange places for 2nd place. And Kane Halliburton is not able to take advantage, at least immediately. But he's trying to find his way through at every corner exit for the moment. It's all about setting up your runs onto these straights at Algarve. If you can get a good exit from the slow corners, you usually have a good time. And Halliburton having a great time getting up the inside of Collier there. So Simon is shuffled off the podium, unfortunately. But all it takes is one mistake from any of the 3 ahead of him, and he is right back in it. Alishahi and Calabrese seem to have settled things between them, and they are giving chase.
I think it's really good between them, though. They're both Team Green. Don't get me wrong, they're fighting and stuff like that, but they seem to be really evenly matched. As right now, you see Cairo Enns. He's in P11, but the good news is he's caught up to the car ahead of him of Kevin Adrian. Actually, Adrian dropping back there from Garrett Lund and Jan Cheek. I do wonder if he took a little bit of a scenic route earlier on. Having a quick look, I don't see anything on the timing and scoring, but you see Cairo Enns there using a little bit of the sand. Can he make his way past Adrian and indeed make his way up further through the grid? Now, we were saying earlier about the rain. Oh my God, I feel slightly guilty for that one, as our dear friend Cairo Enns there having a little bit of a showboating moment, albeit out of time on that one.
Yeah, well, it came just as you mentioned the rain, so I think you manifested a patch of moisture on the racetrack there. So Cairo Enns back into 12th place. And for the moment, it looks like he's going to stay there. Marco Chacon 2 seconds ahead of him. It's going to be hard to bring that gap down. Halliburton deciding that track limits aren't a thing there coming out of turn 1. And it seems Simon Collier thinking the same thing. Benfelsen is benefiting from this, with Mikhail Prechuk out in front by nearly 2 seconds at the moment. Benfelsen now has the benefit of the clear air. He's just got to be careful not to keep locking up there.
Lekker bezig, Leon Benvelsen. That actually means good job is what they've told me, or I've potentially just said something very offensive in Dutch. Certainly, you know what, you'd have an easy target there. And I do remember actually, I worked at one place and there was people from all over the world, who mainly all over Europe, who worked there. And I do remember good reasons to learn other languages, not only because you see all these wonderful people from all over the world, but then you can disappoint more of them if you can communicate with them. So there you go, our Dutch fans no doubt getting a bit of a giggle there. By all means, if you want to clip that and roast me at my expense, feel free. It's all fair game, ladies and gentlemen. We do the show for you guys. That's we want you to have fun and you to enjoy it here on Pit Road Productions, or indeed on Almeida's channel. As I see Reese, that was sounded like a little bit of a clinch moment, sir. What's going on?
It was a clinch moment for Halliburton on the way into the penultimate corner. He had a little bit of oversteer on the way in there. He's trying his best to give chase to Leon Benfelsen, but it seems that Leon is holding strong for now. Slipstream, though, for Halliburton. And he'll get a bit closer here down the start-finish straight. And into turn 1 they'll come. Prechuk is sort of keeping that gap consistent. I think Benfelsen and Halliburton, they are both quicker, but they're a bit too involved with each other at the moment. They're allowing Prechuk to keep that gap.
Well, let's not tell Aurum, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure she would want to defend her man, but don't get me wrong, Halliburton is indeed a very potent man. He's almost like the Chuck Norris here of the Almeida Racing League. He doesn't set a time, he is time, ladies and gentlemen. Track limits are defined on his say-so. As you can see, he's currently there in third, up 12 positions, and definitely keeping Ben Valzen occupied for sure.
Yes, indeed. Loving these static shots, just showing the elevation change around here. It's a beautiful circuit and great to drive as well. Ben Velzen will be driving more in his mirrors at the moment because that golden machine stands out in any conditions. Halliburton looking for a move up the inside here, maybe? No. He is deeper on the brakes, though, and he's late apexing, getting on the power a bit earlier, trying to set up for that run down the start-finish straight. Ben Velzen washing out just a tiny bit there, didn't quite hit the apex curb. So this might be the move Halliburton's looking for.
Yeah, he certainly, the more that he fights, I do have to wonder if this is exactly what Prechuk is going to want, because there's 7 minutes to go. As Ben Velzen now going alongside, you can see the wing count. It's going to be close, and there's no draft there to keep Ben Velzen in it. Prechuk is just a little bit too far ahead as they're going side by side down into turn 1. And Ben Velzen, yep, I would have done the same. Breaks up a little bit early. He's going to try and get the nice tighter line, get a better exit speed, but this could be a opportunity, though. Is Michael Prechuk now going to be under attack? Are we going to see Kane Halliburton challenge for the lead? And is this going to maybe a good thing for Ben Velzen? Is he going to be able to find his way up maybe onto P1?
Well, if Ben Velzen can latch onto the back of Halliburton and follow him, then they'll both get to the back of Prechuk. But making the move is another matter entirely. Garrett Lund and Yan Cheek here having a good view of the 4 cars ahead of them. Collier and Alishahi battling over 4th, Calabrese and Lenzi battling over 6th. This is a nice little chain of cars, all in their 2x2 phase at the moment.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Definitely battles happening throughout the field. Simon Collier, I do have to wonder which part of the UK he's in, purely because I'm from the UK, not Australia, ladies and gentlemen. We have one of those. He's called Reese Gardner. And as you see, Garrett Lund as well getting into a fight as well. He's currently... Well, he's currently about 2 tenths per second. As I say, that drops back to about 4 tenths. But it's good to see Yan Cheek having a better race today. This is the highest I've seen him here in F3 so far. But Garrett Lund, we know the guy can drive. He's a potent driver as well. But definitely, I've been in some incidents himself. I think he's more of just trying to get a couple of points on the board. Yeah, for sure. I think Yan Cheek in particular has really suffered quite a bit in this league. He's seemed to find trouble at a lot of the rounds so far, but he's got clear air ahead of him. He's got a very capable driver in Garrett Lund chasing him down. I'm sure that if they do end up fighting, it will be clean. Garrett Lund maximizing the entry to turn 1 there. Does it work out for him? It does in the short term here, because Yan Cheek made a slight error, and he's going to have to cover him there into turn 3. Hit the apex, but too much sausage curb there for Yan Cheek, and the rear wing goes as Lund brushes past him, and oh man. The pattern just continues there for Yan Cheek. He must be a very unhappy chap there. Yeah, definitely it was looking good, and then sadly not. Just gets a little bit too much over rotation. You see there the wing just almost like a souvenir, like thanks very much, I earned that. Garrett Lund taking a little bit there of the 45 car to go with him, but Michael Prechuk now is very much under attack. The gap closed down to 4 tenths of a second. Are we going to see Kane Halliburton make a move for the lead? He's up 13 spots. Ben Velzen's not been able to stay with him, and was actually down about 8 tenths of a second that lap. But where can Prechuk do it? Right now, the fastest lap is indeed, last time round was Kane Halliburton with a 138.1. Last time round for Prechuk, 138.8. Yeah, so Kane Halliburton has absolutely minimized that gap now. And it looks like this will be a clear move into turn 1. Picking up the slipstream as early as the run through the final corner, and side by side across the line, Kane Halliburton takes the lead of the race. But will he hold off? Mikhail Prechuk just cuts ahead of him before they get to the braking zone, and well, that was about as fine as you want to cut it. Prechuk will hold on to second place, because it looks like Ben Velzen hasn't quite been able to find the pace that Halliburton has. Yeah, certainly the two fastest people on the track right now are actually Vijay Radhasakuran and indeed Kane Halliburton, both of them doing the 138s, the low 138s at that. But we have to wonder, is Ben Belson now going to be able to catch up to Prechuk? Certainly he can try, but Prechuk's got the toe there from Halliburton. This could be an opportunity for him as well. Sadly not going to be able to hold on and get that second win, but I've got to say, 2 podiums in a strength of field as strong as this, it could indeed be an opportunity for him. As we see a replay here from Cairo Ends.
So Cairo Ends chasing down one of the Team Green cars, but unfortunately catches too much of the curb on the way through turn 4. You can sort of touch that curb in most cars, but you don't want to run all the way over it. The sawtooth construction of the curbs around here is just too rough on the suspension to be going over them as you're cresting a hill. Just unsettles the car.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't take too much. Certainly, if you think about some of the curbs as well, we don't fully get the. We don't really fully get, for a lot of us, we don't get the full impact of feeling those curbs. But I can tell you, having driven a racetrack, that those curbs are, well, just curbs in general, they're a lot more potent than you realize. And certainly you hit a sausage curb, that's basically like hitting a sleeping policeman, but without the ill effect of knowing that you're not going to get a ticket, ladies and gentlemen. But Michael Prechuk now dropping back 0.6 of a second behind. Are we going to see him fall into the clutches of Leon Ben Belson? Ben Belson was about 0.2 of a second quicker that last lap. Has he got time to catch up to Prechuk? And then not only that, make his way up into P2?
Yeah, 0.2 gained on the last lap. I don't know, honestly. I still think he might be too far back unless Prechuk makes a mistake. But Prechuk is still getting a whisper of slipstream from Kane Halliburton, who it seems is a clear leader now. Last to first challenge, just about. Took him a few attempts, but Halliburton has gotten to the lead here in the final race of the day. 1 minute on the clock here. And it's still unclear whether or not we'll be going an extra lap, given the 5 extra minutes to traverse. But there's still plenty of racing left to figure out. Calabrese here and Brian Lenzi fighting over 6th place still. It's been a good race for Brian. He's had his issues tonight, but it's been a clean and consistent one for him here in race 3.
Absolutely. As I've just tried pinning a message for the first time in the chat. I got a feeling the fan group is going to find that very amusing, ladies and gentlemen. Leka Bezig, indeed. As we see Andrew Calabrese getting into a little bit of a fight with Brian Lenz as well. You can see it's Team Green versus Team White or Team Grey, depends on well, I guess on your eyesight, I guess. I think it's Team White. I don't think they had Team Grey because Grey's not a color. Grey is not a color, Rob. It's a shade.
Let's not get into that debate. I am the son of an artist, so I have my own opinions on that, but I'm sure we'll have time for that after the show. Kane Halliburton taking the white flag here. 1 more lap to go, and seems like he's not under much threat from Prechuk. Gap out to 1.6 seconds now. Ben Belson still 2 seconds back from Prechuk. Lenzi still trying to find every bit of pace he can and grab 6th spot from Andrew Calabrese, but it's going to be difficult here up the back end of this circuit. These modern venues, you know, flat curbs, smooth surface, very sweeping corners. It can be easy to find time in places, but you really got to be on your A game the whole way around.
For a second there, I thought you was describing my physique there, flat surfaces, and yeah, I can't follow that through, ladies and gentlemen. I think our producer's going to start crying, or indeed needing a beverage a little bit more potent than Pepsi, ladies and gentlemen. As Leon Ben Belson currently in 3rd, the gap between himself and Prechuk has not managed to fall in. He's currently maybe more and doing a little bit about Simon Collier behind, 8 tenths on the second behind. He is indeed maybe a potent threat, but can Ben Belson hold on to that final podium spot? So we see Halliburton making his way across the line. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give this a quick adept. Winner, Kippen dinner. It's supposed to be winner, chicken dinner, but indeed our Dutch fans will find that amusing as Prechuk there takes 2nd place.
Yep, Collier and Al-Shahi round out your top 5 there behind Ben Belson, and Brian Lenzi wasn't able to close the gap to Andrew Calabrese there. Garrett Lund, he had had his fair share of fights with Kevin Adrian there, but they traded spots a while back, and That's going to be the end of things for them. Cairo ends, rounds out the top 10 after a very difficult day of racing for him. Certainly had the pace to contend. Marco Chacon, a quiet day of racing for him. An 8th, a 12th, and an 11th. Martin Visser. He looked like he was going to come under threat from Jan Jančík in the final couple of laps, but he managed to increase the gap there. Takes 12th. Jančík took a pit stop to reattach the rear wing, and he manages to get to the finish, which is great to see. And Vijay Rajasekaran out there as well after a pit stop for damage repair. Far from the heights that he reached in race 1. That's going to end the action for today. Halliburton, your winner, with Prechuk and Bentvelsen rounding out your podium. Collier and Alashahi in the top 5, and then the top 10 rounded out by Calabrese, Lenzi, Lund, Adrian, and Enns. Marco Chacon, Martin Visser, Jan Jančík, and Vijay Rajasekaran are your final finishes. Retirements from Morandini, Marsden, Hendricks, and Rahman. Very tough time for them, and probably some lessons to be learned coming into the remaining rounds of the season. And well, we can move through to driver interviews first. Up is going to be Leon Bentvelsen, and another successful day for you in the F3 here, Leon. 2 podiums out of the 3 races today. Looked like you were enjoying yourself out there.
Yeah, especially grinding, just like Tony Hawk. That was awesome. only lost a few positions, but sweating carrots, guys. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the track temperature certainly played a part in that as well, up to 51 Celsius here today. You must have been struggling with turn-in at points.
Yeah, and getting on power again. It was really... Only smooth inputs could save you. And even then, it was so easy to lose the front or the rear. But great fun, again. Yeah.
Yeah, some great battles with Halliburton in the final race as well. Well, looking forward to the rest of the championship. You've carried some great form in this F3 car, and I suppose now you start your prep for next week and hope to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, keep it going. It's the only thing you can do. Practice as much as possible, and be there on Saturday. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, Leon. A pleasure to chat to you always.
Bye-bye.
Well, Leon Bentvelsen will celebrate his double podium there, Zippy, as looks like you've got a bit of a choice here as to who to talk to next. You've caught up with Vijay Rajasekaran.
Well, Vijay, the first thing we're going to do is see if your mic working this time, sir.
Yep, it is.
Hey, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the legend, the number 12 driver, Mr. Vijay Rajasekaran. And I got to say, definitely a good day for you. P1, a P2, and then a P14. So definitely a little bit of a mixed bag there, but it looked like a good day for Team Blue. How did you feel about Algarve today?
I kind of have mixed feelings about the track because I like the layout. Long sniping corners, the elevation changes, but the curbs are awful. They're so bad. The car is so unpredictable over the curbs, but yeah, so I wouldn't say I love it, but it's all right. And yeah, I mean, I was really happy with my quali because it came out of nowhere. You know, just completely focused on that lap. I don't know how. It was just really satisfying. But in the future, I don't know. I don't know if it was my fault because to be honest, I'm on a single monitor and I didn't see Andrew on the outside, and yeah, and then cold tires just lost control, and yep, could have been better, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely, we do sympathise for you there. Certainly cold tyres can indeed have an effect, but fair play to you. You know what, on a single monitor as well, I appreciate the challenges that has. And indeed, many drivers, I'm sure, have been caught out by cold tyres or indeed been caught out by running a single monitor. But Vijay, before we let you go, is there anybody you would like to shout out for today's performance?
Just everyone in the race. I just couldn't, find the pace I had in quali, and everyone was really quick. So yeah. just love racing with them, and it's really close. Especially in the second race, it was fun making my way up the field, and that's it.
Well, Rejay, an absolutely fantastic day for you. I certainly wouldn't be disappointed with a P1 and a P2, but we're going to leave you to it. And thank you very much for popping into the interview booth. We're going to wish you the best of luck at the next round.
Yep, thanks.
Well, Vijay Rajasekaran celebrating one win tonight. Also celebrating a win for the first time is Mikhail Prechuk, who joins us from Team Blue and the number 14. Fantastic job there from you, Mikhail. And well, I think your win really proved what we've been talking about this season. You get into the lead and you're able to keep it in these F3 cars. The dirty air really pushes things along, and if you have that clear air over the front wing, you've got it.
Well, I have to say the F3s definitely need some cleaner to get that pace out. I've struggled a lot over the season. It took me a while. That's like 1.5 length of the seasons basically to get a maiden win. Got to today. Didn't expect that. I was super happy.
Yeah, as you should be. It was a good race to get 9th in race 1. The invert helped you out to get pole for race 2, and you were able to keep that race 3 lead for quite some time before Halliburton passed you in the dying laps. You must have enjoyed seeing, the beautiful vistas of Algarve in those last 2 races.
I mean, it's been quite quiet at the front, I have to say. I've heard of a lot of stuff happening in the back. By the time Kate reached out to me, I was thinking, okay, I don't really have to fight. Leon's close behind. I'll just have to get the draft and enjoy.
Well, enjoy you did, and it is your first win in the Almeida Racing League here at Algarve. Is there anyone you want to thank for your performance?
Definitely the guys at the blue team, Zachlin and Sammy, who definitely gave me some additional tips during some of the weeks. I've been able to overcome some issues, and that's for you guys, for the blue team.
Absolutely. Blue on top. Mikhail Prechuk, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, that's going to close off the interview portion of the night here, Zippy, I think. And, well, another great round of the Almeida Racing League, but plenty of action, plenty of drivers coming away unhappy with the incidents here tonight. Hopefully next round works out a bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly it does become a risk versus reward scenario. But I'm actually going to give a huge shout out, not just to the drivers and to the coaches, and indeed to the Almeida Racing League, but indeed to the fans, ladies and gentlemen. Because honestly, these have been the shows where we've had the most, interaction here with the people in the chat. And I've honestly, it really does make a difference, certainly for myself in the commentary booth. I love talking to you guys. It's fantastic. So we're going to give these people a little bit of a shout out. We got Jake Hens, we got Aurum in there, we got Hesper in there as well. We got Aurum obviously in there. Let's see, Apple was in there. Wessex. Let me keep going through this list here. And that's on the Pit Road Production side. If I have a look at the Almeida side, we've had Payoff Wizard, Stefan, we've had Blizzard, GT Racing making an appearance, Sam Loves Cars, like all of you people who come and joined us in the chat. Thank you very much. We do enjoy it when you do that, and I do keep an eye on it. We do listen to what you're saying as well. Definitely makes it a difference for us here in the commentary booth. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, as wonderful as the faces of Rob Campbell and indeed Reese Gardner, and you guys tolerate mine, we are indeed going to have to leave you to it for another week. But we will be back same time again next week, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to see more Pit Road Productions, though, by all means, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. You can get notifications to know when we're going on air. Fantastic stuff. You can suffer us a little bit more, ladies and gentlemen, in the nicest possible way. And indeed, make sure you hit the subscribe button on Swelio's channel as well. Certainly, we're going to wish him the best of luck driving a real-life race car. And indeed, I think he did a meet and greet as well very recently at Motorsport. I do wish I was still living in Ontario for that one. But that just about wraps it up for us today here on Pit Road Productions. So I'm going to wish you a very good day, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be, and we'll see you again very soon.
The Almeida Racing League is growing fast. fast. Hundreds of drivers, multiple splits, broadcasted races, and it's not just about individual winning, it's a team championship. You race with your own squad, you learn how to compete, and you grow together. And we don't throw you into the races blindly. Every week, we help you prepare with pit parties to train side-by-side battles, workshops with live coaching, 20 driving challenges with full tutorials, and even group raids into official iRacing races after the league night. For just $25 a month, this is the most complete training experience in sim racing. Join us as a member today to start your advanced training and racing with us. I'll see you on track.